for waiting. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Councilman Duper.
Present.
Councilman Daly.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Popescu.
Here.
Mayor Rigsby.
Here.
Councilman Leonard is absent. There is a quorum.
Thank you. We will start with the invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilman Daly.
Father God, we thank you for many blessings that you continue to bestow upon us. We thank you especially for the freedoms and opportunities that we have to live in this great country and in this fine city. We pray for your guidance as we deliberate and discuss this evening. We ask these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
Are there any items that the public would like to speak about that are not on the agenda? I have one request for the oral report section from Mr. John Wesley.
We ready?
This is for the oral report section, so come forward.
I can talk anything I want for 3 minutes.
As long as it's reasonable decorum.
Thank you. I hope to hold that. I'm not a public speaker. John Wesley. First, let me say hello, Mayor, Councilmen, managers, ladies, and enforcement. It's nice to have them here. I'm not a public speaker, so I pretty much script what I have to say. Tonight, I'd like to talk just briefly. I'm John Wesley. I'm president and CFO of All of Us Are Here. We're located at 10444 Corporate Drive, Suite F, behind the VA off of Redlands Boulevard. I'd also like to point out that I'm a veteran of Vietnam era, and one of the reasons I was attracted to this city a couple years ago is the Veterans Hospital and the excellent care that they provide. I have an assistant with me. She's my executive assistant. I think some of you know Lucy Argueta. She's been, I think, in your neighborhood for a few years. She now works with us, helps us learn the city. It's our second year here in your fine city. We are a nonprofit Christians communications company. And I'm the inventor of Sci-Fi. This is paid internet systems for cities. I'm also the creator and architect and engineer for Faux Air, which is fiber optics to air, taking fiber optics and then turning it into air. I'd like to share an experience with you. I have no comment to demean anyone that works in the city nor any department, but I'd like to share shortly an experience that I had with the city of Loma Linda. When I decided to move my company here, I inquired on internet services to see what I could get. There was fiber optics. I was told that was pretty much what I could get, fiber optics. I then contacted your fiber optics division, and I found out, I was quoted what it would cost to install my fiber optics in my business. It ran a lot more money than I was told. It was verbal. I trusted that it was there. I paid over $400 to have a modem installed in my business. It's month to month. I think you might be aware that your fiber optics plan is month to month. I called several times for service, never got one phone call back. I removed your fiber optics from my business 4 or 5 months ago. No service. You don't want fiber optics without any kind of service. And I never got a return phone call. That's $2,400 of revenue that should have come to the city of Loma Linda. I'm in the process of making this city my home. If one of you will sell your house, there's only like 5 houses for available in Loma Linda. So I plan on making it my home. So I took your fiber optics out, and I request that my staff, when they have a problem, and they bring that problem to me. They bring the problem with a possible solution. There's no use walking in my office telling me we have a problem. I'd like to hear your point of view of what that problem and how to solve it. I'd like to share that same philosophy with you. I'm here about the fiber optics in Loma Linda. There are, by my estimation, and maybe you can guide me, there are hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue from your fiber optics I don't believe you're collecting as a city. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars. What brought me here tonight was I was in your last council meeting. There was a lady that stood here, and she simply said she couldn't get your service in her community. Do you remember her last month? She wanted fiber optics there. With fiber optic air, there isn't anyone in this city that shouldn't be on your register or in your billing system whatsoever. And I don't know, I know you have engineers and a department for that, but it's something that really needs to be addressed because it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I did a calculation. I look at your website. You have 23,600 that you claim live here within the city. You have approximately 35,000 students that visit here. You know that data on cell phones is registered and charged by download and upload. You have the capabilities of those 35,000 students of providing at $10 a month unlimited data. You want to do the math on that? It's almost $4 million a year of revenue by putting in fiber optics air, which you don't have. And I will talk to you a little bit more about the two issues you have on the agenda tonight in fiber optics. That's $6,027 a day of revenue you're not collecting. You're not bringing it in. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to tell you real quick, 15-second. Do you remember Beta and VHS about 30 years ago? Beta machines came out. They were like $2,500. The greatest thing since sliced bread. And then what happened? VHS came in at $11.95. What happened to the better technology? It went out. I checked with Verizon, AT&T, and several other companies. They don't want fiber optics, nor are they installing fiber optics anymore. They're all going air. Air technology, I'm an engineer. Air technology is high speed today. You have the backbone for it, but I don't know if you're addressing it, and you definitely are missing that revenue in this city. Not only can you cover Loma Linda, you can take, with air, you can take revenue from Redlands and Colton and bring it into your city on the air. We're missing a lot of money, and that's a lot of revenue. I heard last week that you cut 1/2 of a police officer because of incomes. We need to be a smarter city. We need to be a revenue income city. We need to have the mentality of moving forward and not cutting and going backwards. You have the assets already in place. You're expanding them. You need to work them to the maximum capacity, and it doesn't take a lot of investment to take your fiber optics and put it in the air. So what I would like to do is I'd like to meet with you, show you the opportunity, the cost, and the technology that will put that fiber optics in the air. You can have every resident in this town, even if you gave it out at $15 a month, with phone. You realize if you had 10,000 people, you're looking at about $2.4 million a year of revenue. So I'd like to suggest that we look at it as a city, that we move on it. It's a wonderful asset that we own here. It just needs to be filtered and brought in. I don't know if you know what WiMAX is. Have you heard of WiMAX? Okay, it's going to be in your area in 2 years. It's going to kill your fiber optics unless you take it first, okay? These big companies are not going ground. They're going air. Air technology is super fast. You can stream video, audio, and anything you want in air today. 3 years ago, you couldn't. Today, you can. So we really need to move as a city into that engineering area to where we can provide. I did a location survey. One tower will cover your city. You're 7.2 square miles, less than 10. You can hit everyone. So I thought I'd bring this to your attention and say we really need to move on that. $6,000 a day of revenue is a lot of money, a lot of good budget. Anyone have a question?
Well, we can't comment much in public time because I think what we'll do is refer you to the staff to talk about this opportunity, and Do you guys have some questions?
I'd like, I'm sorry, Ron, go ahead. I would like to see a proposal, something put together that maybe we could put on an agenda that we could see.
I'd love to show you the technology and how it works and how quickly and inexpensive it is today. Right now, if you look at your cell phones and you scan this room right now, you will see my fiber optic air already on your premise. I already have it in your building. My cost was $0 to put it in this building tonight. So if you take your cell phones and scan, you'll see FO air, fiber optic air. And so I already have it in your building, and I just wanted to show you how easily it is to bring and how easily it is to give to the city, because you already have it on your cell phones. Okay, I thank you for your time.
I do have a couple questions.
Please.
Obviously, technology changes quickly, and some of us are users, but not particularly technology savvy. And that's why I like my Apple, is I don't have to be too technology savvy. I will tell you that I've been asked by any number of citizens about access to fiber optic technology, and obviously those are people that don't know. It's not only me, there are others that obviously aren't aware of where the technology is moving currently as well. My question is, your knowledge and what you're proposing sounds impressive, but for someone that's not technology savvy like me, I'm not entirely clear on just what it is that you're proposing. Is this a business plan that you would come in and propose? And if so, have you installed this kind of technology in other municipalities or businesses? I'm trying to have some context here.
Chicago, Baltimore, some of your larger cities. I'm not doing a business proposal. I live here. And what I am offering is the knowledge, my engineer, my background of the capabilities of how to do this. Because I'm becoming a resident here, I'm participating as a citizen. Okay, and not as a contractor. And yes, I can bring your engineers right up, show cost, everything else, and how we did it. Yes, I have participated in this very successfully, and this is the technology for tomorrow. Air is where all of us are going. AT&T, Verizon, we're all going air because of the technology increases in speed. We can now stream video and audio through air, and that makes our territories wide open. So.
And do you have any ballpark estimate of what kind of investment? I mean, I realize we're just talking in generalities here. I don't know if we're talking millions of dollars or.
What we
See,
really
I
need
think
is
at that point we're going to need to
a
agenda.
point of sale.
We're going to need to agendize it with like a.
Yeah,
that's
an
a good
actual-
point.
A point of sale.
Are the 3 minutes up?
You can run me away anytime.
No, I would like for you to come back with a presentation, and then we can
Well, thank you.
actually engage and actually ask questions.
What is it, December what, 5th?
Start with staff.
December 5th is our next
We
meeting.
don't do anything without staff leading us.
Okay, that's fine. I will meet with staff.
Yes,
You see
Lucy, know me
Yes.
and my numbers, have her call me, make an appointment, Conrad, and I'd be happy to.
You got it, I got it.
Yeah.
Just to answer your question, this is the only device that a resident needs to have. This will bring in fiber optic air. This will bring in fiber optic telephone. Okay? You could offer it so profitable even at $15 a month, and you would make over $2 million.
What's the speed on it? What speed? The download
300 and through air. 300 to 450 megabytes is my speed on fiber optic air. The old air is 56. So, but I will get with your staff. I'll be happy to get with your staff and bring you the literature and sit down. My concern is we have millions of dollars of revenue sitting here, and we can approach it for a very decent price without having to spend millions. The technology now is very, very affordable. Very. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I look forward to getting with both of you.
Do you need your time in the other slots, or have you
I'm going
finished?
to comment on your two, item 12
Okay.
and 13.
Okay. Okay, we'll get back to our agenda. Is there anybody else who wants to talk on an item not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Conflicts of interest will be dealt with as they arise. We have item number 1, a public hearing on Council Bill R-2012-47, an amendment to the Regional Urban Water Management Plan. Mr. Public Works?
Yes,
Go
thank you,
ahead.
Mr. Mayor. Back in June 2001, the City Council did approve the Regional Urban Water Management Plan. There's this document right here, of which this is made out of 8 water agencies. Our portion is this much, okay? This is the lead agency is San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District. They hired a consultant. We did the plan. The engineer came over here and did a presentation for this study. The Muni submit this plan to the State Department of Water Resources Board, and they come back with a comment that was in the part of the package. Majority of the comment having to do with other water agency, but because we are part of this report, they asked that the City Council adopt the Council Bill R-2012-47 and approve the amendment to the Regional Urban Water Management Plan.
I did not see any financial impact. Are there any in this?
No, this is having to do with the law that came out in 2009, where the state required that the water agency had to reduce the water consumption by 10% by 2015 and 20% by 2020. And how do we go about doing that, and so forth. So this is what it is.
And we're doing. How are we going to go about doing that?
Well, the first phase that we already complete a lot of is replacing the water meters to smart meters, and by doing so, it gives the correct water consumption of the homeowners, which in turn costs more to the homeowner, and the homeowner turn around and reduce their water consumption. That's number one. Number two, the city have been reducing our landscaping. We have planned to replace a lot of shrubs into the hardscape using decomposed granite and rocks and so forth. So that's the next phase that we are working on.
Are we going to have the opportunity to see, before you start pulling bushes out and putting granite rocks in, are we going to have the opportunity to see some rendering of what that's going to look like?
Sure. I'd be happy to.
I'd like to see that.
Yes.
I'd like to open the public hearing. Would the public like to speak on this item? We have one taker.
Dick Wiley, I've got a question for you. As I perceive things, people, as you say, the water bill has gone up. It's like the price of gas. The price of gas goes up, we temporarily don't drive. But then we fall right back into the same thing again of saying we're driving the same amount of mileage. What I'm thinking about is when you put these restraints in by 15%, this is by 2015, then people are going to be at the point where they're saying, oh, that's same water bill we've gotten before. The pressure isn't kept on them at that point. They fall back in the old habit again. And how are we going to counter that to say we do meet it, or how do we enforce it?
I hate to say this, but some water agency already increased the water rate, where they do a tier system. We do a tier system. So what they do is increase the last tier. If you use 100 gallon is this much, 200 gallon is this much, 1,000 will be additional, cost a lot more. So that's one way of they doing it. Is a lot of time is to ask people to reduce the water consumption is you have to do with their pocket. But I don't want to go that far. I just want to go for them to conserve their own water and use less water at home. So.
Yeah, you're making the argument that it's possible that there's a flat demand curve for water. As the price goes up, the demand does not fall, and we don't know yet whether that's the case. So let's let it work its way out.
There's another point that skipped my mind until you were bringing that up. what about the ones that are already conserving? And you say, cut back 10% on that. What? Well, I mean, you don't know that they're cutting back. I mean, where I'm at, down there in the association, you can't tell that I've cut back. I mean, I've always been conservative to begin with, but then when they come back and they say, well, you need to cut 10%, there's no way of knowing this. And this is why I say, and there's some other sides and issues to this that I could probably throw in, but we can discuss that, later on.
But see, individual cutting back is not what's needed. What's needed back, they're giving us the mandate for our entire city to
Right.
cut back. So we can tell that. We can tell how much water we pump. And basically what he said is we've been giving water away at low rates, and we've been encouraging poor use of water with that. So when we put in the better pumps, then people get true information about what they're using, and they can make wise choices. If they don't end up cutting enough, then we have to do all of these intervention things. I think this is kind of a free market approach, and I think it's a good way to start. And if we get out to 2020 and we haven't achieved the goals we set, we can start pulling all the strings to make these other things happen. You can, all kinds of authoritarian things you can do we don't want to do.
Is there the possibility maybe of, I don't know whether you'd said, I know it's down on Redlands Boulevard, you're taking out all the vegetation stuff and you put in it's like AstroTurf, of starting something thinking along that lines of saying, you take your lawn out, we'll subsidize a portion of it, but you have to, that's one way, you're cutting back, but you're not going to want people to say, well, I can't afford to put AstroTurf in, but saying we can sort of subsidize like you do with solar and some of these other energy things at the moment. But this will be down the road a bit.
But right now, we don't have the funding to do any
Right.
subsidizing the.
Yeah.
Let's have to look at it that way too.
The water fund is funding these changes in the meters just by increased revenue.
Sure.
That comes from the meters reading correctly. And I once calculated that we pump enough water out of the San Bernardino aquifer to cover the entire city about 1.5 feet deep in water per year. That's how much we pump. Mm-hmm. And we only have to cut it down to 1.2 feet to meet the goal. So I think we can do it. But,
Well, like a lot of people, I catch myself when I'm over there. Ovi knows where Assistencia is. You kick the faucet on to wash your hands, and you go, oops, that's a little bit too much. Most people don't even think about that. It's just kick it on, wash your hands, and let it run. So
I'm going to take a stab at this, but I think probably our major offenders is in landscaping. And so I think they're probably not even that close together, the use of a shower or faucet or toilet versus landscaping. Is that correct?
yeah, we could spread Agent Orange over the whole city and get rid of watering overnight. But, those authoritarian approaches, I think, are not desirable. So, Roundup. More modern Roundup. Yeah. Okay, anybody else from the public like to speak on this topic? I'll close the public hearing if not. Okay, it's closed. Is there any motion by the council? I heard a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Is there any opposition? I don't hear any, so it passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll now go to the consent calendar. There are requests for comments on items 12 and 13, so why don't we pull those and deal with them now? So come up, Mr. Wesley and Ms. Argueta.
I'm not a professional speaker either. Hi, how are you, Councilman, Mayor, Pam? Hi. Hi. Thank you for giving me time to ask questions regarding the fiber optics. I know it's an easement, but my questions have to do with the fiber optics in Loma Linda. And I wanted to know who markets the fiber optics program for the city.
city staff does when you move in. As part of your move-in packet, you get fiber optic information. It's on our website. And we do market about once a year, door to door, in the neighborhoods that we serve.
So it's on the website, and then do you include a package? Do you give a package when?
When somebody moves in, as part of their move-in, signing up for water and trash.
Okay.
So anytime you change your water and trash bill, that's marketed to the people in that area.
Okay. All right. And where do we find the cost, the information on the cost and the income that the fiber optics program has brought into the city?
The annual budget,
Is that online?
I believe so.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You could, Lucy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You feel free to give me a call anytime you want to talk about that. Don't
Okay.
need to do that in this forum.
All right.
Thank you.
Maybe there's only 11 that live in Loma Linda. They should all be here on your matters. I'll go to item, I believe it's 12. It's your Allied Telus contract. Is that number 12?
Go
With
ahead.
Allied? You've negotiated $52,433.42. I noticed here that you put down there the sole source for the service as their equipment. So they're the EOM, but their technicians are licensed on their equipment, and some third parties are licensed on their equipment as well.
That's correct. This is EOM help desk support. We do our own internal support and technician work. We don't hire that out.
Right, you do it within, right?
Correct.
And so what are they supplying us for $52,000? What is it exactly they're giving?
Help desk support, break fix. We have almost $1 million of hardware.
Right, I saw
So if any of
1.1.
that breaks or burns out, damaged, we get replacements on that.
And the equipment's no longer in the warranty, am I correct?
That's what we're buying. This is part of the warranty part of that.
Part of this is warranty
Yes.
in this fee? Cool.
Yes.
That's great. It didn't say it there, so I thought it was a little high if it didn't include warranty. And do you keep a help desk register knowing once a year so we know how much of their services we used?
We do keep that?
You have a log there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. You answered my question on that one. I'll move to you're buying the rights. It's my understanding, am I correct, that you're wanting to run fiber optics out to the airport? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And has there been a marketing plan against that cost in running that line and who's going to be servicing? And have you done a survey at the airport to see what kind of interest you would have?
This is the reason why we are doing this. We just happened to work with the Ucaipa Valley Water District to put in the sewer line across the city of Loma Linda to put the brine water to the sewer water treatment plant in the city of San Bernardino. Edison is also looking for the same thing. They have a power plant at the northeast corner of Mountain View and San Bernardino Avenue.
Okay.
They want to put in a sewer line that take part of the brine water from that power plant to tie it to the existing line on Mission Road and Van Leuven as part of Ucaipa Valley Water District. And so, as part of agreement with Edison, they said, you know what, you can come to our town. We're not going to charge you any inspection fee or permit fee, but when you dig your trench to install the conduit, to install the sewer line, can you put in a conduit for us? We give them conduit and they lay it down for us. And he said, sure. But what we need is the right of way from Sandbag to go, because they had to go underneath the freeway. They plan to jack the pipe underneath the freeway from the south side of the freeway to the north side of the freeway
Right.
And we just going to, hey, let's put the conduit in for us at no cost, and that was a great deal.
And
that's
that's
why
what
we need this, the right of way for Sandbag, from Sandbag.
And that's what this $2,000 is
Yes.
for that? And then the cost in running it the rest of the way to the airport?
The airport
Well,
would pay for that.
Yes. I worked with the airport that I said, oh, they have to put in, they have to do a street improvement. They have to put in widen the street. They had to put in the storm drain system, widen the bridge, the box culvert, really, the box culvert at the San Mateo channel. They had to put in the process of putting a new bridge crossing Santa Ana River.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been working with them for the past 2 years to do the design, and I asked them, oh, by the way, can you put in the conduit for us? And they say yes. And so that's why we are doing this, and so now it's just a conduit. When we have the market for it, then we will install the fiber optic, but at this time, it's just laying the conduit in the ground.
And you're putting in 6-inch?
We put in quad, right?
Quad duct, 1.25 inch, that's our standard.
The 1.25 inch?
It's 4.25 inch stack.
Yeah. With no thought in mind of maybe subleasing someone else?
Yes.
We already sublease
Yes.
significant portions of our conduit and our fiber.
Cool. Okay, great. That's fabulous on there. Okay, I needed to know those stats.
It's just an opportunity.
Yes, I'm with you.
Opportunity here, and we just...
Smart opportunity. And that 2,000 is a one-time right-away?
Yes.
It's not an annual?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your courtesy.
Yes.
Okay, then the consent agenda is available for your motion if desired.
Go ahead and pass it. Or move it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Any opposition? It's passed. We have reports of councilmen.
I guess I can do a shameless plug. We always try to encourage businesses to, encourage residents and businesses to do business in Loma Linda. So I've been going to dentist recently, and I've had an opportunity to actually, for the first time in my life, enjoy going to the dentist, believe it or not. I had such a good time for 2.5 hours. So anyway, he happened to be a Loma Linda dentist, and I know we have lots of choices in Loma Linda, as Dr. Gilbert right here off of Barton Road. So if you don't have a dentist, Dr. Gilbert.
Roger N. Gilbert.
Roger Gilbert.
Roger N. Gilbert, DDS Incorporated.
I think he's part of...
Laughing gas.
It's just that...
Laughing gas.
Anyway, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, as many of you know, I'm a big Apple fanatic, and I just remind everybody that you could go to Rancho Cucamonga and you hope you find an iPad mini, and you probably won't find one, but they do have them in stock at the bookstore. So if you're looking for an iPad mini, they have plenty of them over there. So other than that, please shop at Loma Linda, eat, and buy all you can, because our sales tax does go up, and we do need to generate the revenue to put in those beautiful mediums that we talked about earlier this evening. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Any reports of officers?
I think our attorney wanted to say something.
No.
He's an officer. Oh. As far as I know, the Tippecanoe / Anderson interchange is on schedule, and they're making progress on widening the off-ramp, the eastbound off-ramp. Do you have anything else?
Yes, the urgency right now is to extend the box culvert on San Mateo Channel. So, because the raining season is here, as a matter of fact, it rained last week. So the contractor number one priority is to finish the extension of the box culvert. And at the same time, they start removing some shrubs along the on-ramp, the off-ramp, the eastbound off-ramp, and removing trees and so forth.
And since we haven't spoken for a little while, can you update us also on the on-ramps, off-ramps?
Yes, on your hardscape?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, item number, you just awarded a contract. Number 7.
His Apple product would have been...
Number 7, you just awarded a contract to install the hardscape at the eastbound on-ramp and off-ramp at Mountain View and I-10 freeway. And we just received the permit from Caltrans 2 weeks ago, and I I already took the project out to bid as soon as they give me the permit. We did a bid opening, and here we are, awarding contracts. So, yes, sir.
Thank you.
How did you get it so cheap? I paid that much for my driveway.
Because it's all rock.
Okay. See, I should have had a rock driveway.
It's not fine granite.
It'd be hard going up a 30% slope with rock. Okay, any other comments from staff? Okay, if not,
You know what?
then...
Let me just bring back something real quick. We had a League of Cities meeting last week, and just to keep you up to date, League of Cities is now, seems to be heavily involved in trying to craft legislation and push Sacramento for more AB 109 money to be delivered to local cities. They believe that with the prison realignment that's going on, and a lot of the counties, obviously from experience in the Sheriff's Department, probation, everybody's trying to get more money because of the workload that was dumped on us by the state prison system. Now League of Cities, on behalf of cities, believes that they need a piece of that pie, if it ever materializes, to come into local cities to be able to fund programs related to AB 109 and prison realignment. So, but they also seem to have kind of backed off a lot of the RDA stuff, and nobody's really interested in talking about the lawsuits and things like that. Everybody figures it's a hopeless cause. So, I don't think they've dropped the lawsuit. They're just not talking about it.
Okay, then the city council is adjourned, and I have lost my contact with the internet, so I will read off some
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I have a copy here of all the different. Okay, I'm covered. Thanks. Okay, let's go to the successor agency agenda. Call it to order. We already did the roll call. Are there any items to be added or deleted?
No, sir.
Would the public like to speak on anything that's not on this agenda? No takers. The consent calendar is available.
I have a question regarding the demands register. Are the fees for legal services for the successor agency different from the ones for the city, or are they working for both entities in those fees? Okay. And out of curiosity, what specifically resulted in, looks like about $10,000 of legal fees last month?
Sorry. We've been working on the compliancy reports that are due to the state. We have the due diligence reports related to the housing assets that were transferred. And we had a housing asset transfer report that was due, then the due diligence, which was the non-property related assets that were transferred to the housing authority, and then the successor agency. So Mark's been working with us on all those related documents. We did, for the housing asset transfers, we did get a letter back where the DOF disallowed several properties that were also related to the Poplar Street project. So we requested a meet and confer on that. And we actually received a letter on Friday, actually, and we were able to provide DOF with all the documentation they needed. So most of the properties that they had initially allowed were actually, after their review, were they withdrew their objection. So there was only one property that we recognized that was on the list that shouldn't have been, because it was actually purchased by the 80% money, and it should have been low. It should not have been a low mod property. So we concurred with DOF's finding on that one, that it should not have been transferred to the housing authority. So Mark's been working with us on all those compliancy issues. So.
Do you anticipate that will just continue at this rate, or is it because you're still dealing with having to manage it?
Doing these compliancy reports, and depending on what DOF challenges and Mark's input up until we get our fund. Because once we submit all these compliancy reports, and if we have to go through the meet and confer process, And then once we're done with all of that, we get what's called a final determination. Hopefully, things should die down and we should
Okay.
just be in a maintenance mode.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and move it.
Second.
Any discussion, any opposition, hearing none, it's approved. We adjourn successor agency, we'll move to the housing authority. Are there any items we added or deleted?
No, sir.
Would the public like to speak on anything on this agenda? Anything not on this agenda? Don't hear any. Okay, consent calendar is there for you. And by the way, the annual report is very nice, very well done.
Just to follow up on the consent calendar, I know that we got another set of legal fees here. Are these different than the ones we dealt with? Because it looks like we have about $12,000 this time. Is there something specifically that we're dealing with related to housing here?
Correct. And these would be, from my knowledge, would be related mainly to the Poplar Street project that
Okay.
is currently.
Okay.
Okay, is there a motion?
If and when that meet and confer has to happen, obviously that's going to, Mark has to be present for that too.
Correct.
And luckily, they approved the boundary, which is sitting on paperwork too, so we save a lot of money not having file. And then go to Sacramento to be with them, so that saves us a lot of money.
The meet and confer is in Sacramento.
Yes.
Well, you can do them over the phone, or you can request a meeting there. It would depend on what we want to challenge and how important it is to us, probably, which one we would request. Although for the housing asset transfer, we had requested a meeting up there, but we were able to handle it all over the phone and through emails and through, so that saved us the trip.
Good.
Hopefully, the next two meet and confers, if we have to have them, we can handle in the same fashion. But I do know that DOF is bombarded with actual meetings up there because their staff, sometimes I can't get a hold of them because they're in meetings.
Now, that meet and confer, we had a successful outcome to our benefit?
Yes.
Because that's a rare event, from what I'm reading and understanding, that it's not even worth the trip up there because they just deny.
We
Well,
were
this-
successful in providing them the documentation they needed to state our case and prove it, that these were low-mod housing assets for that purpose, that they were purchased for that purpose, and all the documentation that we provided.
Very good, very good. Congratulations.
I just want to make a general comment. I just think it's so ironic that after the laws were passed to eliminate RDA, but yet they ensure that we need to comply with their housing requirements. It is costing us more money now to comply with those, and they haven't gotten any money from us for the assets we're supposed to sell so they can generate income. So the state has managed to cripple itself.
And the mandate's due there. We still have to comply with the housing requirement with no revenue to
And despite this massive flow of money, they raised our taxes anyway.
But the voters voted it for, remember?
Oh, thank you. Thank you all.
Since we're just in random comment mode, the proposition to change the three strikes law, I just heard something the other day that they estimate for our county, just in our county alone, there are approximately 500 inmates that were serving life sentences that because their third strike was considered a non-violent, they will now be relocated to the county jail potentially for us to deal with. 500.
Isn't that nice? And then they'll get another trial and they'll get released.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, there's no beds, so that means 500 crooks back, potential life sentence crooks that were serving life sentences are coming back into the county.
Yeah. Please upgrade your home alarm. Personal advice. Okay, was there a motion and a second on the consent calendar?
No, but I'll make it.
Okay, is there any other discussion on that? Is there any opposition? Hearing none, it's approved. Chair and member reports. You just did it. No more? Reports of officers? None? Then we're adjourned, and that's the last of our meetings. Thank you all for
Our next meeting is on the 11th or 5th? 11th, okay.